being existentially alone. We need to continue to acknowledge and soak in the reality that our fundamental experience is one of being an inner self object, because it's only going to get worse from here, folks. As we've seen, here, our most basic experience and awareness is one of being existentially alone. This means that as a self, we are isolated and exist in a condition that is separate from everything else and especially from all others. Why is it important to acknowledge this? Because it's the one we identify with, and so it is the one that will die. The construction of this experience has roots in our self condition and sometimes shows up in our experience as loneliness. To set the stage to better understand this condition, let's begin by pulling from my book, Ending Unnecessary Suffering, speaking about loneliness. Loneliness. Loneliness is one of the more core conditions for pretty much everybody. Although it is most often buried under all of life's distractions, anything that keeps the mind busy and occupied. Yet there are occasions when we confront our loneliness, and sometimes conditions press us into an experience of loneliness, especially during periods where others are absent from our lives. Clearly, this reveals you are imagining that your happiness is dependent on some experience other than what you have, and that this can only be produced by others and not you. In contrast, your current experience of living life by yourself is seen as lacking. The foundation that sets the stage for such suffering stems from the fact that you live in a private inner world that only you experience, and this is held as the place where you reside. No one else can ever also reside in this place. So you will always be alone there, and the only avenue to connect with another private inner world is through communication. Here you might be able to develop a sense of connection, but this can't be done without others. And so you feel you need others, and often a special other, in order to be intimately connected. When this isn't happening, you can easily feel alone, isolated, and lonely. Acknowledging that such a deep connection with another is usually rather rare means most of the time you live on an island of separation. With or without people, to avoid suffering, loneliness, you probably feel the need to be distracted, to have something fill your mind and experience so you don't have to face the deep loneliness that you feel just being a self. Clearly, you aren't okay with being alone. You aren't okay with merely being, and you need some form of distraction from this condition. It seems that your mere existence as a being is incomplete, and so you need the imagined promise that someone or others can somehow complete your experience. Did you follow that? Let's go over it again. The core concept is that you aren't okay just being you, and that you need others to complete you in order to make you happy. Since you live in an existentially isolated, private inner world, the only avenue to connect to another is through communication, and you need others for that. So in this way, living as an incomplete self causes loneliness. Your experience of loneliness requires imagining another possible world that you don't have. I know this might seem like you have no choice about it, as if it is just a fact of circumstance. And what makes it even worse, this notion is supported by the culture in which you live. Yet, try to grasp where that fact lives. It lives solely in your imagination and what you say this condition means to you. You are alone, and you imagine not being alone would be a more satisfying experience. In contrast to an imagined circumstance, you can see your current experience as negative and unacceptable. You desire or long for something that you don't have. Again, you assess that you, by yourself, are not good enough, are not complete without someone else to validate you. Your self-experience is felt to be lacking and incomplete. Therefore, you judge your current imagined experience as negative and painful. Why do I say current imagined experience? Certainly, if it is your experience, you aren't imagining it, but experiencing it, right? Actually, not really. What you currently experience is your body and what you perceive as occurring both physically and conceptually. But there is no loneliness there. The loneliness is added through imagining comparisons to what you don't have but think you need. And so what is currently experienced is given a negative meaning. This is added, and it is also imagined. Stop imagining this added layer to your experience, and it doesn't exist. Again, I acknowledge that since we are social animals and have also developed an overactive ability to imagine all sorts of stuff, that this change of mind could seem difficult. I know for the vast majority of people that it is a difficult challenge to overcome because we think such experience as loneliness is inevitable, a fact that we must suffer. So it is easy to overlook the power we have to simply not compare what is factually occurring with what is imagined that is not occurring. But hard as that is to accept, a deep loneliness tends to be a core experience for most humans, even when it is overridden with distractions. When your attention is being filled with active life activities, you won't notice the loneliness aspect. But it is still a dynamic that should be dealt with. It will come around to bite you in the ass at some point, especially as you get older. It is useful to work on completing yourself by grasping you are already complete and whole, and that your experience is all that is needed no matter what it is. This goes a long way toward ending this malady. Beyond and consistent with overcoming our experience of loneliness, we need to grasp how this is related to death. Obviously, being existentially alone and so isolated and separate is the condition of our experience. And this is important to us because it not only is the one who is going to die, it creates the condition that generates the angst about losing this one. Consider that this separate self becoming non-existence is what we call death. But imagine if you deeply experience being one with or connected to all others and reality, and so not separate or isolated. Would it matter very much that you lost your separateness? The end of that separation would be a rather minor issue, wouldn't it? This may sound weird since it seems our individual separate self is just a fact of the universe, and so we don't have any choice about its life or death. But that may not be true. If it's the isolated nature that we would miss, what does that say? Certainly, we cling to this sense of because it is all we have. It is what we experience as our existence, yet this might also be an illusion. Obviously, I'm suggesting that we may not be separate, that this isolation is something that occurs within our conceptual experience, but may not be the ultimate truth of our nature. If we experienced ourselves as not separate, then if this separate one dies, is that a problem? We see dying is only really a problem from the perspective of this unfound self-object, which, hard it is to accept, only exists as an assumption. The fundamental delusion of humanity is to suppose that I am here and you are out there. Rasatani Yoshi. In our world, the self is all we have. If we lose that, we lose all. We lose all because everything is perceived via the existence of ourselves, and our central role in the universe is to interpret everything in relation to us. If we lose that, we lose the whole world that we experience. So, challenging this taken for granted and seemingly obvious experience that we are an isolated, existentially alone entity would be a radical divergence from our solid life experience. But consider it and put it on the back burner for now. We will get to it later. Not realizing a real connection with others or a completeness in ourselves throughout our lives, we long for this separation to get handled, but never attain it. We remain alone. Any other possibility is just intellectual imagining. And this is not at all grounded enough to tackle matters such as life and death. Instead, we have to grasp how the social life is central to and dominant over our experience of life, and transcend this illusion by becoming directly conscious of the true nature of existence in a deep way. Your self-awareness exists solely within the social domain. You are separate because you distinguish yourself from others. You exist as a conscious entity only because of other conscious entities. As an inner self object, although unseen and unfound, you live as if you are an aware object, and this awareness object can die. Isn't it strange that the conclusion of being self aware is based on the assumption that this self awareness is also objectively separate? Alone as either an object or a concept, death isn't an issue, as already discussed. They have to work in tandem and combine, holding yourself as a conceptual object that exists in a social context for death to become an issue. Although this conceptual self object really doesn't amount to a hill of beans, this is the self we experience being and fear losing. Try to identify the very experience you live inside of and get where this self awareness lives. Consider that who you are prior to any social context is very different than who you live as. It is who you live as that is concerned with dying. What composes your social self experience is rather complex. It is made up of many assumptions that act as cotter pins to our fundamental view of life. We don't really need to go into every single belief, concept, assumption, or perspective, however, to know that life is full of a lot of social drama, regardless of source. What may be harder to see is that although it seems like it's full of significance, it's all just a meaningless story being given meaning, sound and fury signifying nothing. Seeing it this way helps reduce our resistance to losing it. We are also beginning to see that we really never get away from the social reality that creates our self experience.